Hi everyone, this is Grace, and today I'll be walking you through how I made this beginner Halloween set, so let's go. This was actually made for a class, and my goal always with making a beginner class especially is to make it as accessible as possible. So that is why all of the designs are circles. First up here, we are just doing a little scrape action for this mummy. I'm using a special little tool here called a thingamajiggy, but you can just use a kitchen knife, whatever. It does not need to be that tool. I've also seen this design done where you actually flood the base, but I didn't want to add that much icing, and I like the fact that when you scrape this, it dries so much faster. So you only have to leave it for like maybe like 10 to 15 minutes and that's it. I'm doing the eyes here with this green. So fun fact, this entire set uses just one consistency, my thick flood. That's another thing that I do for my beginner class sets is I try to do just one consistency because the fewer consistencies, fewer bags you have, and the less prep time. So the trick here though is that a couple of the colors I bagged in two different bags so that I could cut different size tips. So this black is one of those that I believe I put into two different bags, and this is a much smaller tip. You can see there with this wet on wet that I'm just like laying the icing on top. I'm not like injecting it. If you inject the icing, you're gonna add way too much icing to it. And then this line work here that I'm doing is using, again, the smaller bag of white cut with a smaller tip. And the reason I do that is that, first of all, obviously, if it's a different bag, you can cut a different size tip. And a flood size tip is going to be much bigger, and you wouldn't have... you'd get too big of a line for this, what we're doing right here. And then when you're using a smaller bag of icing, it's just easier to control. When there's less icing, there's less pressure. The icing comes out less quickly. So I let that first layer of lines crust, and that's really important here with this approach of using a thick flood to do these lines, because they just melt into each other a little too much, but I wanted there to be some nice dimension to it with like actual layers. So that's why I let the first layer crust and then go over it with this second layer of lines, and it's awesome. None of these designs are original. These are very common designs in the cookie world, but I just put them all together into one set. I'd say there was one. I think the Cauldron is the most unique. I certainly didn't see any examples that looked exactly like that. This one here, Frankenstein, super common. This green is a yellowish green, which means it has more yellow than blue. I don't use really any color straight out of the bottle, so I probably used AmeriColor Lemon Yellow and Royal Blue to make this. I don't tend to use like a green out of the bottle. I mix proportions of yellow and blue until I get what I'm looking for. Super important here to have a scribe. Now, I was really playing with fire with this set, flooding all the way to the edge, and what you don't see on camera is all of the times that they flooded over, but since I was using circles, it's actually really easy to fix overflood on something like a circle as long as you catch it before the icing has crusted. You just take your scribe or whatever tool you have and just like scrape off the edge of the cookie. Really easy. So this here, I'm outlining the hair for Frankenstein. Is this hair? I don't know. I outlined that with the smaller bag just to have a little more control, but you could use the bigger bag of icing, which is what this one is. It has a bigger size tip in it. The flood tip is much bigger. My flood tip is usually in the region of like 5 to 6 millimeters, whereas my piping consistency tip and like the tip of the smaller bags I used in this set are like more like 4 plus or minus millimeters. But you notice it's only a difference of like a couple couple of millimeters. It's not a big difference. It's important visually to get this icing all the way to the edge, if you can, so that you don't see the green popping out. Some people prefer to do this design as like flooding in sections instead of layering the black on top of the green. Mostly, I think, for the purpose of not having too much icing, but I think that's harder to do than this approach here. So yeah, that's why I chose to do this. This here is the smaller bag of black icing. Just doing some little outline and flood in that little section there using my scribe. Now, if you're going to get really particular here, you could make sure that you're doing the second layer when that first green layer has just barely crusted. That will help prevent craters. But when I'm doing a beginner class, we're not worried about craters. We just want to have fun. We want to do some cute designs. If it craters, whatever. But that's just a side note if you want to take it to the next level. And there's the Frankenstein. What do we have next? Oh, this must be the Cobweb. Okay. So you can see here, I'm definitely not flooding all the way to the edge. That's especially important with this design because we're doing a wet on wet. So we're going to be adding icing to the icing when you're doing wet on wet, obviously. So whenever you do that, you run the risk of over flooding, which is no bueno. And to help prevent that, you can start off by not flooding all the way to the edge. So since this is wet on wet, you do want to work as fast as possible. If you have to help it settle with a scribe, do that quickly. And then take your black. This is with the bigger size opening because I wanted like a thicker line. I always start in the center and then I go out. If you can, always start your circle in the same spot. Because chances are the start and the end of your circle is not going to be very clean. And then when you do the scribe pull, you can actually pull through that point of the circle. So that's just a little tip. And it's super important to lift your bag off the surface of the cookie. And I find I don't like to go all the way to the edge with the black. And then you can see that first scribe pull, I pulled exactly through the start and the end of my circle. So I actually like to intentionally pull these out kind of far so they kind of sometimes actually stick out as they dry. And I like that look with the Cobweb as opposed to like not pulling them that far, if that makes sense. You can see that, especially that bottom one, how it's kind of sticking out. There we go. Easy peasy. Oh, and I forgot to say, clean off your scribe after every pull. That's really important. Because there'll be icing left on it, and then you'll like mess up the center of it. So this here is the black with the big bag. And it's really important to not scrape all the way to the edge. You will thank me later. And do a pretty thin, relatively even surface here. This is the Sugar Art Diamond Dust. It's an edible glitter. Absolutely not necessary, but I like the extra sparkle that it brings. And then this here is the orange in a smaller bag. And I do think this is really important for these cutouts because you really need to have some level of control with that icing. You can let that sit for just a minute or so to kind of slightly crust. And then go in. And this is where I mean it when you're going to thank yourself by not going all the way to the edge, because if you go too far to the edge and you don't end up covering it with your orange icing, it's going to look weird, obviously. So I think I played around with making the jack-o'-lantern's face like big and small. And my mom liked the smaller face better. She thought it looked more like comical. Do what you want, but just keep in mind that the cutouts are going to close up a little bit because you're using all flood consistency. So, make the cutouts a little bit bigger than you ultimately want, which, like, the second that I did this, I wish that I had made the cutouts bigger, but oh well. Did I just do like a fake out? What was I doing? Okay. So just gonna help it settle a little bit. I think, yeah. It's just a really simple one. Simple little jack-o'-lantern. Simple but fun. And that's it. You can see the glitter kind of coming through in the light. I really like that. So next up, what are we doing? This is the Cauldron. So you might be able to tell that in the video, this is really more of a dark gray than a black. I realized after the fact that the way I edited my photos, it looks way more black. So it doesn't matter if it's black or if it's gray. I wanted to make a really dark gray to demonstrate that you do not need to have a pure saturated black. Most people who color a black use too much food coloring. So yeah, that is, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Okay. Note on black though. You want to allow your colors to develop, which means you let them sit for a period of time. They'll get darker. You color them to a few shades lighter than you ultimately need. Black, I always color the day before, if not like more than the day before. Couple of notes on black. If it is black in the bowl, you have gone too far. You want it to be a very dark gray in the bowl, and I promise by the time it dries, it will be black. It's so easy to add too much black food coloring, and it's just not good when you do that. It doesn't taste good, and it dries weird. So I just wanted to show you, you know, even if it ends up being a dark gray, it's okay. It doesn't need to be black. And you'll be much happier with a dark gray than like a really disgusting black with too much food coloring. So normally this kind of cauldron design has sprinkles on the bubbles, but I didn't want to use sprinkles for this. So that's why I did the polka dots, just to kind of resemble that part. And then obviously I had to add some edible glitter because YOLO. And then I let that dry for at least 15 minutes. And here I'm actually cracking the surface in what I call crackle or pokey poke. And yeah, this is just to give kind of like a messy look. It does not have to be done perfectly because it is supposed to be like an overflowing cauldron. Love it. And you can use whatever tool you have that kind of looks like what I just used. So that is the cauldron. What do we have next? This must be the swirl. So I don't know. Is this like a hypnosis swirl? Is this like a candy swirl? I don't know. I just wanted to add another design. And I always find this wet on wet swirl technique to be very fun to execute. So also I wanted to have another orange cookie. I always try to balance out my sets as best as possible when I'm designing a set. I always try to have like equal number of floods for each color, if that makes sense, to kind of both visually balance the set, but also not use too much of any one color unless there's a specific point to the color scheme of having like a ton of white or something like that. This orange is also on the yellow side of orange, just sidebar. All right, let's do this little swirly situation. So this is, again, the big tip on the white. We're lifting our bag. We are guiding the icing. Keep in mind that since this is a flood, the line will kind of spread out a little bit. So you might want to like space your lines a little bit farther away than you think it needs to be. And the hardest part for me is where to finish this swirl, because I always think no matter where you finish it, I don't know, it looks kind of like unfinished in a way, if that makes sense. But anyway, this is good enough. Hashtag good enough, my friends. Give it a little tap tap, because you definitely don't want to stick your scribe in this and jiggle it when you have wet on wet. And there we go. Simple little swirl situation. So do we have one more left? I think this would be one more. This is the Jack, what is this called? Jack Skellington, I think, or just a skull. So we're doing this cutout, but we're only using like the top half of it, so you don't need to put the black gray icing on the whole surface. And again, do not go all the way to the edge. Also, optional edible glitter. Obviously, I'm a big fan. And then we're going to do cutouts here. So this is using the small bag of white, and I'm probably going to give it like 30 seconds to a minute or something just to crust a little bit. On the note of edible glitter, if you're going to buy any sprinkle like type thing, I recommend white edible glitter, white non-prise, and white sanding sugar, preferably in small and large. Those are the four kind of like sprinkle type things that I use the most. I rarely ever use anything else. Even with the edible glitter, like they have a million different colors, but I actually prefer the look of the white on just about 9 out of 10 applications. So even on this is the black, and like, yes, you could put the black edible glitter on it, but sometimes I think if your icing isn't the exact color of that black or whatever the color is, I don't know, I just don't like the look of it. I like the white. It reflects the light. That's all you want. It looks sparkly and pretty. And yeah. All right. So the best part about probably this skull is that like these eyes are not supposed to, or maybe they are supposed to look even because it is a skull, but they can look funky. They don't need to look even. And then this smile here also should not be a perfect like semicircle. It should look wiggly. I think it looks better wiggly. This is the small bag of black again. And yeah, just some simple extras. And there she goes. I think that's the last cookie. Ooh, yes, it is. Okay. So this is the full set. I really enjoyed walking you through this. I love doing these kinds of sets where I have one shape and a limited color palette and limited consistencies, because I just love enabling constraints where I get to really challenge my creativity to figure something out. So hope you liked this video, learned a few things, and might try it yourself.